I'm really, it's my honor and privilege to be here moderating this session with, all these leaders in the chemical industry. I wanted to start with a very simple, diagram from Gartner, which talks about digital maturity in the workplace, and it talks about low digital maturity, medium digital maturity, and high digital maturity. To kick it off, what I would request, Mr. Shailesh, if you could really, just talk about the site that you come from, what type of products they're making, and where you think your site is in terms of digital maturity today, and feel free to add anything from your experience and other things that on what we have discussed today.
Thank you. I'm Shailesh Nigam, and I'm working with Reliance for more than 3 decades. Reliance has got a O2C business apart from some other major businesses. Within the part of O2C business, we have got refinery, petrochemicals, polyesters, and also the oil and gas exploration. So as a part of petrochemical complex, I come from a Dahej manufacturing division. It is around 40 kilometers away from here, near to the sea. And we are primarily a petrochemical plant which has a gas cracker, which makes the basic building blocks for the polymerization fiber intermediate products. So grossly, the whole revenue will go into a couple of billions dollars. And these are major plants. In fact, these were erstwhile IPCL, which were taken over by a group around 20 plus years back. Major products can be classified into polymers, which are HDP and PVC. Also fiber intermediate, which is monoethylene glycol, which goes into manufacture of fiber, and PTA. Also PET, which is basically goes into the manufacture of these bottles. In addition to that, we also make some chemicals like ethylene oxide, pure ethylene oxide, and many more things. In addition to the manufacturing plants, we have our own jetty, we have our own captive power plants, warehouses, ships, the coal-based power plant, and multiple things to support all these facilities. One of the unique features of this site is that this is the only company in India at least which is integrated from salt to polymer. So one of our raw material is salt. We take out the chlorine of NaCl, convert it into a pure chlorine, convert that along with ethylene, which we manufacture within our site to make EDC, and then finally VCM, and finally the PVC. So this proposition is truly unique. So that's all about the site which I come from. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Mr. Shailesh. Anything you want to talk about, digital maturity at your site?
Yeah, sure. As a group, a lot of things is being published, so that can be accessed from the many sites. So I'll talk about my site. This has been a journey, and when we started, definitely we started with a low digital maturity. There was a time when we joined, people were going in the field collecting data, making sort of forms were filled up, and there was no Excel. We started way back with Lotus 123 or something, and then Fox Pro or DBase type of things. That is also early 90s. But from there till today, a lot of changes have taken place. Means we'll be covering many part of those. The profile of the people who come to us, they are much more tech savvy, they are more digitally enlightened, and they can leverage many of this potential of digital inputs into a better decision making with a lot of thrust from the center, as well as a lot of new technology being embraced. We have moved from medium digital maturity and moving towards the high digital maturity is what will be my assessment. People are aware now, a lot of resources are getting allocated for such things, and there is a ecosystem which is encouraging people to share the type of development they bring into not only to the main process but also into the business process, leveraging these digital inputs. So that's.
Thank you, Shailesh.
Thanks.
And, I also come from an age where I started my career in late 80s. So yeah, Motors 1 to 3 does bring some fond memories. I'm not sure if current generation probably even have heard of it, but yes, a lot has changed in the last year. Thank you for that. So Bhanu, if I can come to you next, if you could talk about your side, what type of products you're making.
Hello.
Hello. Am I audible? So I come from DCM Shriram. It is part of it was trifurcation of DCM happened in 1990, the famous, it is DCM group. So the group has a turnover of about 12,000 crores, and it is a market capitalization of around 2 billion USD. We employ around 5,000 odd people. So we are into various sectors. I come from the chlorovinyl sector, which takes care for, which produce sodium hydroxide, chlorine, hydrogen. We also have, in the vinyl sector, we have PVC compounding, PVC related products, and carbide. So this is the chlorovinyl sector from which I come from. Then there is an agri sector which takes care for fertilizers, sugars. So this is sector and seeds, farm solutions. So this is the second sector which the DCM group is engaged into it. And finally, one customer related, where some people might be aware, we are into value added products. So Finista is one product which is into doors, windows, aluminum and UPVC doors and windows. So this is the third part of our group. So, and this is something which is connected to the common market. Otherwise, people might not be very aware of what the activities we are into. About the plant I am coming from, that is Shriram Alkalis and Chemicals, Jagdish. So it was set up in 1996 at 150 tons per day of caustic soda. And subsequently, from the year 2008 onwards, it has always been in the expansion mode. And then 2000, it was 150 tons per day at 18 megawatt power. And then 2008, it again expansion happened to 450 tons per day of caustic, and then 55 megawatt of power. Then in 2016, it became 1,015 tons per day of caustic and plus 66 megawatt of power. 2019 again, we went into expansion mode and we made it 1,350 tons of caustic plus aluminum chloride. And subsequently last year, the expansion which is going on now, it is 2,200 TPD of caustic, which is the largest single site in India for production of caustic soda, which is the biggest at a single site location. We have also added other value added products, aluminum chloride also we have expanded to 150 tons per day, and subsequently ECH and H2O to 150 tons per day each. So this is the journey of expansion. We have also added one power plant of 120 megawatt. We have also got into renewable energy. We are actively looking at renewable energy and how and what form we can take. We have already 50 megawatt of renewable energy. So the energy consumption is very high in a plant, around 300 megawatt of power. So it's big power. So that is where that's the background of my company. So about myself, I've been part of various digitalization initiatives of my previous organization, seen robotics very closely, been part of use of AI, ML, virtual reality, seen it, done it, been part of various automation related to warehousing. So been into single deep, multi deep. So seen automation very clearly and seen the advantage out of automation. I know very clearly how we could optimize manpower. What we're talking about, the maintenance, I've seen it for years now, how maintenance has moved on, asset care has moved on from the manual mode to the current status where we can really predict the performance of an asset before it really failure happens. So that's something about my company, about my experience. Anything else, I think we can always discuss.
Thank you, Bhanuji. And anything you want to add about the digital maturity at your side?
Definitely. Sorry, I missed out that point. Yeah, I would rate, in my assessment, it's a median digital maturity on a Gartner scale. Why? I feel the infrastructure, though it is there, I feel it is there. We have DCS, PLC, SCADA. We have some IoT solutions, and we have cloud-based applications also. But engagement of people, the awareness of people, involvement of people in that whole digitalization journey needs to move, can be notched up. So it's, in my assessment, a medial digital maturity level where we are now.
Thank you, Bhanuji. And I think one thing I would pick up and mention here, he talked about, it's a chemical company, DCM, that's what we know them for. But he talked about 300 megawatt of power. Now, 300 megawatt of power is not small.
It's definitely not.
It's not
definitely small.
Which means there are a lot of technologies that we talk about, towards the sustainability and net zero, are industry agnostic, because they can directly be applied to that. And I'm sure that's true for a lot of people sitting in this room.
I was very much engrossed in the discussion which happened in the morning. I could see value which this discussion could bring to us. So 300 megawatt, and with the technologies which are there, definitely we can say few megawatts, if not much. So that's
Thank you, Bhanuji. Jagdish, if I could move to you to help us understand more of what your site is doing and where you are in your digital journey.
So I am Jagdish Pranami. Basically, I work in the SRF, and SRF has the 4 verticals to run the business. That is a diversified and engineering, plastic, then fluorochemical and specialty chemical. So I am the business from the chemical business that divided into the fluorochemical and the specialty chemical. Fluorochemical, as we know, the refrigerant gases, we utilize HFC 134A and so many upstream and downstream along with the product. And specialty chemical more in the agrochemical. If you talk more on SRF, we have the R&D centers for the chemical component development, and this more than 200 plus scientists are working on that product development. We do some specialty chemical which is not available in the routine market. So we have the commodities plus outside of India market, both is available. And if you talk of this digitization journey, basically I am from the background of the instrumentation. So we started the journey in the digitization. Our reading in the pressure gauge we can visualize by the pointer, and in DCS is coming in the reading. So it is the first digital transformation long back by 90s. Okay, so started. So again, the IoT words when come into the picture, so it's again the words of the around 2002 and 2003. We come to India by 2018. So 2018 is the year where we start to understand the words of Industry 4.0 and IoT. So they basically IIoT and IoT both are relevant to industries, and some application by the over chemical and plus electronics end. So by there is a low and medium and there's high digitization. We near about the medium and high, and the SRF Dahej built up in 2010-11. So we are very fortunate, and we are basically very young chemical company. More than 40 chemical plants constructed in the last 11 years. And the technology, we drives even the data adaptation and plug and play methods. So we take care of the future digitization and started the journey by 2018, and now we are 2014. We came to, we connected some systems. There is a common data platform. We started to understand the data. We started some analysis, and we more going forward, gathering the equipment, then our Oracle system, then our quality system. That program we are just started.
No, thank you, Jagdish. And again, he brings up a very important point about the age of their asset, and this is what we see. there are plants which are vintage. If I go back to the IPCL plants that Reliance owns, some of them were built in the 60s and 70s, and bringing them onto a digitalization journey as compared to a plant which was built in 10 years or 15 years is a very different effort, right? So thank you for bringing that perspective as well, Jagdish. Vijay, I would like to move on to you now for the same question.
All right, I am Vijay. Among all my three colleagues, we are the youngest organization which was incepted somewhere around 2012. So only 12 years old organization. So the best part of once you are incepted very recently, so from the inception stage itself, we are in neither in the 3.0 or not 4.0, we are at 3.5. So because that was the privilege we had, because when we started our setting up of the plants, we always made sure that we achieve the process excellence or operations excellence to a greater extent right from the stage of inception. Now coming to the industrial part of it, we are also a chlor-alkali parent company. We started the chlor-alkali plant as a mother plant, and we, like the DCM, propagated with the passage of time. In the last 12 years, we have propagated from the capacity of 150 tons per day of caustic to 450 tons of caustic per day. For 1200 tons of caustic, 450 KT per year. The chlorine industry is such that the chlorine is one of the nuisance chemical. The chlorine being toxic, you have to handle it. You have to handle it very carefully, being toxic. So with the passage of time, what we thought that we have to make chlorine usable at the site itself. So that was the point where we thought of the forward integrating the whole site. So after setting up the chlor-alkali, we set up a power plant, which right now with the progression of the chlor-alkali has gone to the tune of around 136 megawatt power we generate. Along with that, we are having hybrid power on the sustainability. We import around 20 megawatt through the wind power and the solar power. So total consumption is around 150 megawatt an hour. Then going for the chlorine derivatives usage, we set up the chloromethane plant where we make multiple products. Along with the chlorine, hydrogen is one of the, again, byproduct. So we went for the hydrogen peroxide plant. Then again, once you generate a lot of caustic, you have a lot of chlorine. The ratio is somewhere around 0.8. So we generate around 1,000 ton of chlorine. And handling the chlorine per se through the cylinder is a cumbersome task, not only for the loading operations, unloading operations, transportation, logistics, and the statutory guidelines which you have to follow for the chlorine usage. So we thought, let us go ahead with the further plant. So we went for the epichlorohydrin plant. Now, epichlorohydrin plant is the first of the plant which we, Epigral, envisaged and went into. And the plant is running at 105, 110% of capacity for the last 1.5 years. So it was under Make in India, we were the first to do it. Again, we thought that the chlorine was still in excess. So we had to do something different and to achieve the global excellence. So we went for CPVC, chlor PVC. The chlor PVC, there is one more company in India, but we are now the largest manufacturer of CPVC with 3 plants of the capacity of around 75,000 tons on an annum basis. And again, that was not enough. Still, we found that the balance is not really shifting towards the overall sustainability of the site. So we went, let us go ahead with the chlorine usage further. So then, right now we are at the commissioning stage of setting up 6 plants we have set up, which is nothing but the chlorination of toluene. So we are going the chlorination of toluene to make the mono, di, tri, 2, 4, 4-C, whatever the permutation combination you can talk about. We are going for the chlorination of xylene. We will be going for the chlorination of further more products. So in addition to that, there was no one who was making caustic potash. So we have set up a small plant of 20 KTA of caustic potash too. So that's how the whole site gets integrated into to make sure that the chlorine transportation and the mobility through the road tankers is minimized, and we have a total sustainability and the environmental protection at the site is taken care of. Coming to the hydrogen, that we are now in the process of already looking at the hydrogen derivatives or maybe some hydrogenation or dehydrogenation of, and then using the hydrogen. So that is on the pipeline. Further going ahead with, we have set up a very big R&D center at Ahmedabad, where we are looking at the chemistry of fluorination, we'll be looking at nitration, we are looking at the chemistry further cyanation. So that is how the further downstream pipeline, and our aim in the next 5 years is that we want to be totally independent with respect to the usage of all the bioproducts with chloralkali as the mother plant. That's really the vision we are looking at. And in addition to that, right now we are just one site, and we have already acquired the land in the near vicinity of 2 additional sites. So we are also have the plans to integrate the downstream products into specialty chemicals further and link it to the parent site. Now, coming to the digital maturity, I think we are right now at a low digital maturity because we are in the stage where we invested a lot of money in operations excellence. You know, we wanted to have, we are a company which are going at a CAGR of 25% for last 7 years. So the more money goes into the inception of the new plants, inception of new technology. And the best part of our system is that we have all the technology which are licensed ones. All the technologies are, right now they are operating at more than the design capacities. And we are very proud of being a company where we have put up the commercial plants, which are first make in India plan, and now rest of the industries are trying to replicate that. So we feel proud about that, and that gives you a lot of confidence that you can do a lot if you really think of, you know. Now coming to the maturity, digital maturity, we have systems, all the operation systems are fully digitized. There's nothing that which is done manual. There are few things which we are looking at, like the IP21 system, where we are trying to migrate the data right from the DCS itself to the desktop and then integrating that. We have already digitized the logbook systems, and we are alarm restoration softwares we are looking at. So right now we are at a stage where we want to now integrate the whole operation to make it more digitized, to make it more human friendly. And the best part to add is that our manpower or the workforce is so receptive, because being the young organization, we are a age group of 35 average of the site. So being so much mobile on, or the users of mobility on their mobile itself, they are very receptive to any changes which we envisage, and we are able to not only digitize, we are going for digitalization and digital transformation, which is, you know, which is really hard in many of the industries which have, you know, the old legacy systems, and then, you know, unlearn, learn, and then relearn. So that's the good part that we are looking at, and I'm very sure in the next few years we'll be at a matured or medium digital maturity, and will be far ahead than the rest of our competitors. Thank you.
Thank you, Vijay, for that introduction. And I think one thing I'll pick up here is how they have expanded the value chain forward to make the site more sustainable. And just taking back to one of the slides that Ajit put up there in the morning, where we talked about the whole gamut of chemical industry. So as you see, you know, the 4 panelists here come from very, very, you know, different industries, and then they're expanding further. And one of the things I find is when I go and talk to the chemical companies around the world, right? Everyone is looking for, okay, who do you work with who is similar to us? And to me, every site is unique, and really you have to take experience from one place to another to see how we can learn. Prashant, I want to come to you, you know, from your experience in the industry, if there is anything you would like to add to this.
See, we come from media, so my perspective would be more generic in nature rather than the expert sitting on the panel from the engineering side or from the IT side. What I see is, I was going through a McKinsey report which was released during ICC. This is a February 2024 report, which is very recent. And what McKinsey talked about in this report is Indian chemical companies could control cost through digital and analytics-led operational excellence, dynamic pricing, procurement excellence, and supply chain management. So all the problems that you are presently having would be done through what we can say, through digital and analytics, which we have been talking right from the morning. There is no second thought about it. We have seen other industry verticals utilizing this digital analytics and for controlling cost, for operational excellence. for procurement excellence and dynamic pricing. Why can't chemical or petrochemical companies are doing pretty well on that front, but why can't chemical companies focus on it in a what we can say phased-wise approach and move forward? The second thing which has come out from this McKinsey report is it talks about digital interventions are a relatively untapped tool to help chemical companies embed operational excellence. Industry 4.0 technologies such as advanced analytics, AI and cloud computing have made the leap from proof of concept to the shop floor in a host of industries. So what we are seeing is the proof of concepts are there. Some of them are working, but now it has to be integrated for the different processes that we are talking about. If these are being integrated, these proof of concepts are deployed on a larger scale, then only we can get those benefits that all the gentlemen from AVEVA has been talking right from the morning. So whether it is energy efficiency, whether it is operational efficiency, whether it is productivity gain, all that can happen only because of that. And one thing which was clearly mentioned in that report was a host of other industries is also doing. So when other industries are also doing, why chemical industry wants to be left behind? So this question needs to be asked by you to your management whenever you are in this meeting to see you are not left behind. If you are left behind, then I'm coming back to the big picture, which is from 240 billion that we are, this industry, the Indian chemical industry is right now. If we want to reach that $1 trillion by 2040, that can only happen if you are what we can say cost effective, if you are able to plan your processes properly, and if you are able to move in the right direction using digital tool. And the very good example is, I come from the telecom world, so I can give you a very good example of when 3G to 5G transition happened or 4G transition happened, few companies were left behind, though they were #1 in the world, Vodafone. But see what happened. Jio took everybody by storm, and they are presently ruling at least the Indian market. Globally also, Vodafone is not doing pretty well on 4G and 5G fronts because of the legacy network that they had, and they were one of the best telecom operator in the world in terms of number of location and in terms of subscribers also that they had. So my concern is if I look at if I divide the chemical companies into 3 sectors, which is medium plant and small plant. Large plant to a certain extent would be under the medium category, but the medium and the small plant, they have to join the race at the fast. That can only happen when there are few, what we can say, few good guys or few, I would say, startup in these companies, or at least the digital startups within the sector. If they can take that lead, then definitely things will move forward in the right direction, because people like copying, and when there is a competition which is trying to do something different, they will definitely go ahead and do that. And the third thing which I wanted to is initially there would be a lot of struggle. So it's not easy when you do these things, because you will have a legacy network, you will also have a legacy plant. So things will not be easy, things will not be rosy. So knowing the fact that things will not be rosy, but this is the ink thing. If you don't do it, you lose the race. If you do it, you win the race. So it is between the two. You will have to decide that it is better to move forward in a stepwise approach and finally lead to the journey which others have done, so that those benefits are being accrued. And when you are looking at what we can say achieving 1 trillion, you are also opening up a lot of competition from other countries. You are not looking at competition within India, but you are looking at competition within other countries. And if you want to make your products as 80,000 products or 90,000 products that we manufacture here in the country, if we want to be competitive, then we have no other option but to see to it that we become cost competitive not only in India but outside India. So that's my initial thought, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Prashant. I think that's a very passionate about digitization and digital transformation, right? And I could not have put in better word. For me, I think one of the things I would say is it is not important where you are in your digital journey, whether you're low maturity or high maturity. What is important is that you are on the train, you're on the bus, on that journey, and we, along with our partners, are here to help you take you forward on that journey. Now, Mr. Pravin put together, some of the really good thoughts about digitization. So, my next question to my colleagues would be, Mr. Bhanu, I would like to start with you. What are the current digitization initiatives you have in your organization, and if you see any barriers to take them forward?
So let me start with the barrier. Just a few points on barrier. So see, digitalization is need of the hour. We all understand it's need of the hour and it's need of business. But the journey will not be easy for any one of us because it requires a lot of capital expenditure. It requires a lot of changes in the mindset of people. So it is something buying in from the management is something which I feel is the first thing to start with. So that is one thing which I see as a barrier. But yes, where we are, I think we have started the journey. We are into shop floor automation. We have DCS, SCADA, PLC systems. We have integration of this to some use cases. There are specific use cases where we have isolated use cases where we are sending this data to cloud and trying to analyze it and use it for some business application. Business application like generating daily production reports, daily hydrogen, chlorine, what is the volume are we sending through pipeline to a customer. That level of automation is there. Something we are also trying to, how much energy are we consuming? Can we have a dashboard around energy? Can we look at energy optimization? So that level of automation, integration of DCS data into business application is being done. So there is isolated cases, even in maintenance, even in asset care, we have online condition monitoring, a lot of condition monitoring online, and then it's being stored in a server and then sent to a cloud application for analytics, and we are really also getting the benefits out of it. It's that we are able to predict. There have been many cases where we have been able to, based on the analytics which is done, to predict the failure of an equipment before it really, do corrective action before it really fails. So there are many use cases where we have been able to utilize the benefits of this digitalization journey. But how we are doing it, there are, I think we have now approached a very systematic methodology, how we want to do it, where we are to how we want to move forward. See, we have tried to make this architecture has to be very clear, what architecture you want to capture data. So capturing data is something which I feel the second challenge in this industry which are rolled, how to capture data and then how to analyze the data is also, I think, is a big challenge. A lot of junk data is how to correct the data. So that journey, we are on to it. If you ask me where you are, so we are trying to use that as to correct the data. And now what can we bring about business improvements is something which we are now trying to move ahead with. We are in discussion with various partners who can help us analyze this data. So we are looking at how we can improve the efficiencies, the process efficiencies, the power efficiencies, the other supply chain efficiencies, reliability of assets. So various assets we are trying to, various KPIs around it, we have been able to do it. We are trying to model out many things, try to look at, capture the data, analyze the data, then optimize, do optimization model. So which really fits in, which product makes, which energy makes, which overall system makes, which leads to better efficiency, better realization. So the journey is on. We have chalked out a plan around it, how we will move on the journey. But yes, the journey has just started. What we have done is, I think, small part of it. What we want to do is a bigger part of it. And I see where we are today and a year or 1.5 years from now, I feel a digital transformation will happen in the organization. That's my assessment. With the focus which we are now driving it with a lot of people and associates, people who know technology, people who are able to guide and who have been able to achieve success. And we are partnering with them, trying to really reap the benefits of this digital journey. So that's where we are now.
Thank you, Bhanuji. Very interesting. I'd like to move on to Shailesh yourself. Can you talk a little bit about current ongoing digital initiatives and the barrier that you see at your side?
Thanks for the question. When I saw the topic, it was data unlocking for operational excellence. So that started thinking, what is the end objective which we are trying to achieve through operational excellence, and then leveraging data for achieving the operational excellence. So something which comes to my mind is 4 or 5 things. Number one, you have to be more efficient as compared to what you have been. You need to have more agility into your decision making, aided by the robust data coming in front of you, the way you can understand it much faster. And with all this, your decision making has to be better. You are making better decisions, timely decisions, finally leading to the improvement in the efficiencies. Not only that, it should also finally improve the worker safety, the worker productivity, right? And then comes the most important, that finally the sustainable business, and you are working towards the sustainability. And why you want to do all this is because each process, each resource, each asset should work towards delivering the customer higher value as compared to what you have been giving in the past. Now, given that background, how do I leverage the things which are there, or how do I build an ecosystem which helps me to deliver more in the times to come? There are multiple technologies which came up, independently grew up, and then chemical industry started looking on those. And there was early adoption, and then spurred by the success of those, we are now into a very, I would say, take-off stage. Multiple initiatives have been taken by my side and my company and multiple other companies, which are showing the enormous potential. It is expected that more than $100 billion dollars can be saved by leveraging these tools. Now, if I group the initiatives into various things, one will be monitoring. So monitoring is, I have, though it's a relatively old concept, IP21 is giving you a direct access to all operating data in real time, right onto your laptop or even any sort of digital device. The visibility of this data is, you don't have to go anywhere. Now, using this data, you can have a lot of visualization, this thing, which gives you context-based, operational context-based, maintenance context-based, and a lot of analytics are working on that data, to which gives you the, not only the direct alarm, but the calculated alarms, means multiple set of data. How a human brain will analyze it, those concepts are programmed and embedded into the systems, which is continuously looking at that data, and a relevant information flows as a user alert to the people with the escalation matrix. So what is really happening is, the best brain has been modeled. It is having 24/7, it is watching, and timely it is alerting. So that is extremely useful. Now, a lot of remote assistance we are giving. Some of the places where they are from, where these were isolated places, we never had inputs coming. But with the advent of these many technologies and the wireless technologies, we recently had some of remote pump houses. We added some 15, 17 sensors, and they are directly relaying data in the form of even SMS or into this thing. And these are low-cost solutions. And these are also helping us. Similarly, multiple vibration analysis, the remote monitoring of the vibration analysis, the electrical equipment are having multiple sensors, the PSVs are having sensors which are relaying information, and it is helping you to get a timely information. And somebody talked of the digital intervention, and also the models help you with the prescriptive thing, that what is expected to be done. Second comes into the terms of the simulation and optimization. So multiple models have been made. We have a PIMS model which runs across the value chain, right from crude up to the products which we make, depending upon the capacities, and I'm talking of some 150 plants, each of $1 billion. And those type of things are integrated into a system which keeps on tracking the real-time data, even if the crude price changes or even some field goes out of the, how it will impact the market, what will be the impact on the logistics, how the ship movement will be impacted, what should be my inventory level, how should I change. So this agility and nimble-footedness is needed. Now it is, traditionally there were brains which are doing it. Now we are trying to map it on, and we get a real-time solution for a better, and mind you, even a few cents per barrel saved here are big money. Next thing comes into the managing systems, and there might be some more than 50 such systems which have been put into place, starting with the very standard MIIS. Basically, depending upon the role you have a real-time report coming to you. It is not like a daily report, but it is a real-time report as a plant manager or as a shift engineer or as a site president or as a owner. Whatever I want to see, that will flow without any digital interruption from the real data. So those type of reports are means they are working very well. And also you can immediately have the trends of those. Suppose I see some parameter and I want to see how it has behaved in the last, because so these are very easily doable now. In addition to that, we have developed, means all our processes have been modeled, like management of change, PSSR, self-developed process like RCOP for the control of work, and many more. We means Sigma Find, that is the data reconciliation process, the workshop management system. So everything is having a digital trail. Each action can be traced back and visible to the people in the real time. So there are many more things on the managing system, but I'll stop here because each one of these can take hours. Another thing is an early event detector, where we have modeled multiple such scenarios which not only look at a particular parameter, but a bouquet of parameter to let you know what is happening. And such type of experience embedded into these monitoring mechanism help you to identify the problem, to put the corrective action much better way. And there have been cases where we have been able to find out that this NRV on the composite discharge is likely to fail based on the trend of parameters of delta P across that particular NRV. And many times we have seen that these were extremely good. The challenges which you face is that how do you minimize the noise coming out of it? Because if you have one good input coming, it is within 10 such inputs which are not right, then the chances are you're likely. So that is our constant challenge. You continue to work on it. He also pointed out the data accuracy, the multiplicity of the data, the missing data, multiple challenges will be there. Process, digital twins, we have been working on that. We have made a few, and we have been able to predict certain things, like in the gasifier at Jamnagar, the second stage ash deposition thing. It worked and it is giving a very good prediction. In polypropylene plant, the MFI prediction based on the input data. We have deployed hybrid model which are taking input from the basic of chemical engineering and thermodynamics and also from the data analytics. And we have sort of made a hybrid models which are working pretty well for us. Also, we have developed similar for other things, for rotary machines, for the static, for the thickness monitoring, and some of the things our digital initiative are also onto the security side, the HR side, multiple other construction side. So each of my spool, when it is being made, the material availability to everything, I can see how if a particular shipment is getting delayed, how it will impact your product out date. So those are all digitally enabled. And that really helps you to take a better decision. So this will continue to improve in the time to come, and with the much more digitally literate people coming to the key position, there is a very strong momentum into all these things. So that is all I wanted to say. I hope that covers.
No, thank you, Shailesh. And I think, to me, that's very interesting because he earlier talked about, that their site is high maturity, and what he just described is different parts of the plant, different parts of, the processes, how they have used digital technologies to improve the decision making, to improve the profitability. And our view is that Reliance never stops because they keep challenging us all the time. The challenge I would put to the audience is how you can take some of those pieces to the plant that you're running, and no plant is small, right? I think we can find opportunities in every plant, and some of you have multiple sites, so we can talk about solutions, or you can talk to your partners about solutions which you can start at one site and then scale at multiple sites. You also talked about data quality and data cleansing, and I'll come to that in the next part. But before that, I wanted to go back to you, Vijay ji, to talk from your perspective, your plant digital initiatives and any barriers.
So the backbone of any chemical industry, whether it's a small or the big, is the safety. So I'll take that aspect that we at Epigral are fully compliant to the safety on a digital way. But to me, the challenge, the biggest challenge lies within the chemical industry is the sharing of the knowledge. We are at a very nascent stage, or we can say that we are too much pessimistic about sharing of our safety data with our neighborhood or within the chemical industry per se. You compare yourself with the US, where there is a board called CSP, Chemical Safety Board, where any of the small incidents or the bigger incidents are populated, you have the learning. Whereas in our industry, compared to that CSP, we are very much constrained to sharing of our data. Once it is not a good one. And that is one of the bottlenecks which restrains the rest of the industries not to appreciate the digital and the digitalization of the safety. So once the data is available, I am very sure that people can perceive the hazard, they can perceive the toxicity of the chemicals which they are operating and what can go wrong, and thereby optimizing the processes and then going for the digital way or the digitalization, which is not happening. So that sharing of the knowledge, it is, and we are so much constrained in our industry that none of the industry across the board, whether it's a small or the big one, everybody tries to save their data, especially when it is not on the good front. So that's part of the safety. We at Epigral have already digitized the safety systems, where we making sure that we take the data through the sensors, populate it, analyze it. So it's coming to because we are the one who are the energy guzzlers as far as the power is concerned. We consume around 136 megawatt captively. So coal is the biggest input, and the coal I know we consume around 1,000 ton of coal every day. And the biggest challenge comes for any industry of our type, like as in the DCM or whosoever has a big coal power plant, is the logistics operation. Now I can be digitized or go for the digitalization, but what about my upstream customer from whom I am buying? So there has to be synergy between me and him. Unless that happens, the data transformation and the digitalization does not work the way I wish for. So there is always a lag, and once there is a lag, the whole attempt of putting the money gets futile. And similar is the case with the chloralkali, where we consume, for example, we consume around 2,000 ton of salt. So it all comes to the tankers, to the trucks. So each of 35 tons, so you can imagine around 70, 80 trucks of salt. And so again, here the logistics, you can always digitize your way, but what about the upstream seller, And they're all small players, unorganized players. So some initiative has to come from the government organizations where they take the initiative and make them digitalized to some extent so that there is exchange of data and the proper information sharing, and which goes a long way in whole digitization as far as the supply chain is concerned. And third part is the energy front. You know, we are at the stage where we are implementing energy management systems, where we say that because we have the turbine, so we are doing the conditional monitoring, we are assimilating the various inputs, and then trying to figure out the optimal points of generation, optimal points of import of power, optimal point of hybrid power receipt or curtailment, depending upon how the weather is in the Kutch region from where the power is generated. You know, online data from the generation source to our source, and then really assimilating the whole data to come out with a final factor that what should I import, what should I export, and what should I consume, and how much I should consume, and at what rate I should consume. So all this data, and once I talk about energy of megawatts, I'll tell you, a single paisa difference will translate into crores of rupees at the end of the year. So we are in the process of doing that assimilation and then finally coming out with the final recommendations. But it will take a bit more time because right now most of the chemical industries are not really in a very good shape as far as the profitability is concerned. So once the cycle improves, I think this will go a long way in the next 1 or 2 years. It will become much more faster with a bit association and sharing of the knowledge of both the upstream and the downstream industries, which are bigger in size. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Vijay ji. And I think Vijay ji raised a couple of points, and I will touch on 1 or 2 before I move to the next segment. And you know, we talked about earlier today the story from Repsol, and it's not from this industry, but one of the things they were doing was optimizing their source of power, right? Putting those power contracts that they had as part of a real-time optimization model. Now, other thing Vijay ji talked about is the impact of weather on renewable power. And I think that's very important on anybody working on renewable power, and especially there was a discussion around green hydrogen as well today. When you design plants conventionally, we have talked about, you know, when we talk about, let's say, an ethylene cracker, right? We have talked about doing the dynamic simulation around the compressor to design the control strategy for the compressor. So we have done that for isolated equipments or assets in the plant. But when you go to, let's say, a green hydrogen, green ammonia, which is completely dependent on renewable power, because of the impact of weather, it's becoming important that we do a dynamic analysis of the whole plant to design the control strategies. Right? Now, initially my plan was to take a break here and get a few questions from the audience, but given that we are almost overrunning, I want to just move on to the next part, and maybe towards the end we can take 1 or 2 questions. So if we can get the slide back, please. So, you know, we talked about data and we talked about data sharing and the data quality. So I've got a few things here from analysts that I want to talk about, and then pose a few questions to Jagdish ji and Prashant ji. So the first, so now these are all coming out from different analyst reports. So the first one is the 50% of industrial data was created in the last 2 years. And this is going to be true going forward as well. Like 2024, we expect almost the same amount of data to be generated, right? 38% of the new operational data is expected to be processed on the cloud. This is a significant, almost a 16% increase in the last 2 years, right? Then we talked about data quality. So the analysts are saying that 38% of data scientists' time is going to be spent on cleaning the data, right? We're going to have 3 times more IoT devices, or we had them in 2023, right? Data from these devices is also going to grow. And we had more than 3 times economic benefit generated where the organization was sharing data with others. And this is to your point, Vijay ji, when you have organizations sharing data between themselves, that's where you really generate the benefit, right? So if we can come up with an ecosystem where there are people who are taking data, analyzing and giving feedback, right? The safety data. If you talked about your suppliers, their data coming, right? I in the morning was talking about chemistry as a service. It's all about being able to share your data with your partner, whether it's your supplier or it's your customer, and bringing that back. And then there is analysis by Gartner where they've quoted this, where they said, organization adopting data hub strategies will achieve data-driven outcomes at 60% lower cost. So what is a data hub? Data hub is nothing but a way of sharing data on the cloud, right? A lot of organizations talk about data lakes where they're putting all the data into one cloud and then trying to figure it out. But here we are talking about slightly different. Here we're talking about an ability to take data to the cloud and share what you think is appropriate with the right authorization with your peers or with your customers or with your supporters. So with that, Jagdish, a question for you. In your opinion, your organization, where do you see benefit coming from such data sharing to your organization, and what sort of risks do you see with this?
So we till reach here, so we understand all the business benefits in terms of the ship logbook, then the manager dashboards and heads of the various departments and complex heads, the dashboard of the energy and the raw material. And we talk of the highest level, what is the sales and what is the figure of the profit and what is the figure of the my total consumption of the money. So everything is related somewhere data and something data from my operational technology like the DCS, PLC, and some data from my Oracle system where my raw material and my consumption is there. Okay, so there is a basically high time of the data of integrations. So there are two type of data stories there. One is on the on-premise and one is in the clouds. So on-premises, people some prefer a time of the initiations but longer way. When we want to take the advantage of our partners and the collaboration with the users, multiple departments, multiple sites. So when we move our data in the clouds, so advantage, the first advantage we talked, it is basically low cost infrastructure. When you start any digital project or IoT project, there is a capex is there, and the capex sometimes hit the project, and sometimes project may hold because of the high cost. So when you go in the clouds, there you had advantage. There is no data storage facility. In-house you have to create it. You use already data server available on the cloud and you store the data. That is the low infrastructure and low maintenance cost. Again, when you have on-premises some servers, you have to maintain the cost of the your servers and all related stuffs. Second, when you taste the technology, you again want to taste more on the advantage of the technology. So then you need some flexible approach. So by cloud data, you can do the flexible approach, plus you can scale up or scale down based on the need. That is again advantage of the clouds. Second, we initially mentioned as a now we have somewhere plant in any part of India, and us the rest of the people have some head office maybe in the India or outside of the India. And we see last some presentation, some works at the US and they had some mobility in the Dubai and again plant in the India. So many correlation of the data is required. So when you have the data on the clouds, your partners or the business connectors can visualize that data at the single point, and that is the ideal solution, maybe the clouds. When we start this all the journey, we see the advantage, but we start this job, first is the risk or what we can, the obstacles. That is first is the security of the data. We want everything on the clouds, but how secure our data? They are secure, my system is secured. Anything data connect from basic plant is running on the DCS and PLCs and then more on Oracle, our enterprise systems. If something goes wrong to both of that, either OT or IT system, there is a, there is only, it required 40 to 50 seconds to hack the data or trip something from that data. So security is one of the concern. Second, when I got some security, then how I save my data, because today is the world of the competition. A single data has some meaning, and the data if unsafe, then that again is a challenge to business. So my safe is my data. Second, once I tie up with some like Amazon or Google or some new lot of new members or new partners, when I marry with somebody, if long time I have to go, I doesn't know whether they take my cost advantage or they can pass to advantage me. If you see the last couple of years, last 10 years data, the cloud computing data and storage data, the cost is decreased by 30 to 40% as of now. But are we getting as a user, I am getting the advantage or not? That is because by choosing one cloud partner, we are locking ourselves, so that this is again a challenge. Second, so when you go to the cloud, then what is the data or my data storage as per my approved methodology or not? The governance of the data is again a challenge. How I met governance and what is my data methodology are correct or not? So these are the challenge for the data on the cloud competition. And anybody can choose any cloud competition. This has to be take care. And we started the journey. We had little bit also had a good advantage, plus some challenges over there for the data computing.
Thank you, Jagdish. I think he really covered all the different aspects, the security, cost, and other risk, and the value that it brings. Pravin ji, you want to add anything?
If you look at the cloud part, the chemical industry is initially at the initial stage. There is no doubt about it. But as you know that cloud is inevitable. It has disturbed other verticals, industry verticals. So chemical industry will not be left behind. Either you go for it, or if not, you are out of business. Simple. Because you will not be able to be cost competitive if you plan to keep all the resources within your factory, within your premise. Or because anyway you will have multiple factories, you cannot have all the factory located in one location. So when you do not have all the factories in one location, you will definitely have to go for the cloud model. So in-premise is not the option that you do have. Then you cannot get the best of the people if you are planning to go for a SaaS model. So if you are planning to do a slicing and dicing and go for a SaaS model, the best thing is somebody will have to observe that cost. So multiple companies, if they go for it, they can divide the manpower accordingly, and that's the benefit that you get. So if you say whether I should go for adoption of cloud or not, my concern is very simple. If you go for it, the earlier you go, the better it is for you. If not, then please look for other industry vertical who is not adopting cloud. Simple. That's the first aspect to it. Then what's the model that one needs to do to approach it? There is you would have seen a baby growing. So I am taking that analogy also at the same time. What does the baby do initial years? He or she crawls. Then she walks, and then she runs. So you will also have to have the same approach. You cannot run unless and until you do the crawling process, you do the walking process, and you do the running process. So crawl, walk, and run. So what will you do in the initial stages of crawling, walking, and running? So initially, you will try to put ERP to the cloud, involve master data, then you will do the renewing and documenting and business process. Then what you will do in the walking process, you will first of all put your all non-core applications, which is email, HR, analytics, sales support. Then what will you do is we have ERP players will add more applications to the web. That will keep on enhancing your capabilities and also give you a lot of cost benefits. Plus, it is empowering your employees. And that empowering your employees will give motivation to work harder for other things which they can move forward. And then you can look for what we can say experimenting on outsourcing your IT infrastructure. So after you crawl, walk, then what's the running process? In the running process, what you have to do is you have to have core applications, which will help you in becoming a standard cloud applications. Adoptions have been low among large companies, but this is the ink thing that needs to be practiced by all chemical companies. And why I am saying you, because I have been writing on IT and telecom for last almost from 94 onwards. And I have seen industry transitioning towards digitalization. And this is a topic very close to my heart. Right from 94, when I have been writing on IT and telecom, this is one thing which I know that if you are not in this business, you are out. And there are enough examples to illustrate this particular fact. So what is the challenge? See, whenever you do anything new, there would be challenges. But that should not stop you from not adopting. So whatever that you do, the cybersecurity part is one challenge that we all foresee. But despite that, nobody has said that I will take a back seat. Nobody has said that I'm going to do a about turn and not go for cloud. So, and Pranami sir has already touched upon that cybersecurity aspect. So I would just say that keep on evolving yourself. There are different trends on the cybersecurity part where you have the operating models are already there. And who better than to talk on this subject than AVEVA? So this is what I would like to say from my side, sir.
Thank you, Pravin ji. And I think I would just touch upon one thing here. I did not elaborate it much this morning, but my colleague Ashwini in his presentation will talk about it. We talk about hybrid cloud applications. So these applications are on-prem and part of it is on the cloud. You decide what data you want to share on the cloud with whom. So if you have 1,000 points data, you don't need to put all the 1,000 points on the cloud, right? You probably need to put only 100 out of that on the cloud, and you do that 150 with one partner, 50 with another, and you decide what you take to cloud and where. So with that, I think I really thank all my panelists. I think I really enjoyed this discussion and learned something new as well today, and I hope you got something out of it. Thank you.